At some point in our lives, we realize that we have a burden. Early on, when we're born, everything is taken care of for us, and over time, we pick up more and more responsibility. Eventually, being out on our own, having families of our own, responsibilities, and everything that comes along with that. And at some point, we realize that we can't carry this burden by ourselves. We get overwhelmed by it, stressed out, frustrated, whatever the case might be. All of this is a learned or an acquired practice of me putting more upon myself constantly, thinking that that's the only way. And so these words are a great relief that we read from Jesus in Matthew 11 when he says, "Come to me, all who are weary and heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light." These are great words of comfort for anybody who feels a burden and a weight upon them, knowing that Christ has an open invitation to you to come to Him with your burden, that you bring it to Him and take His yoke upon you, learning with Him as you move, as He travels with you, as He labors with you, as He helps you with any burden that you might have. There is a hostility and a greater burden constantly given to us from this world. Nobody in this world can take our burden except for Christ. Everybody else generally only adds to that burden. And over time, our souls get weary, get tired, get beaten down from daily burdens that we carry around with us, never feeling the lightness, the weightlessness that comes from being freed from these burdens. Ultimately, sin is our greatest burden that pulls us down, that draws us away from God and from others, that we don't even feel like ourselves. We don't feel the energy, the light, the life that once sparked in us before this burden and this weight weighed on our souls. Christ is the only one that can remove that burden, that heavy laden sin upon our shoulders. In Him, upon being born again, that is stripped away. We feel a new lightness take over. We feel a new sensation in Christ, which is a freedom from that burden, as if we're floating along. And this is what He intends for us. Now, again, in Christ, there is work, there is labor, but yet we don't do it alone. We don't bear that burden alone. He is with us, next to us, willing to work with us, to bear our burdens equally with us as we cast them upon Him. And the greatest challenge in all of this is trusting Him, is truly trusting that He will bear our burdens, that He will remove this heavy laden weight from our shoulders. And He teaches us each step of the way. But all of this requires, again, a great trust, that I trust in Him, that I don't hold on to everything in this life. The more I let go, the more of the light I feel, the more of the freedom that I feel, the more that He blesses and leads me and teaches me as I see His steps next to mine in this yoke together, working and leading me through all things. As we move steadily forward, there is a great blessing in trusting in Him, of letting things go, of putting them upon Him, of casting them on God because of His great care for me. In all of this is the rest that I need for my soul, to relieve myself of that deep burden, that almost inexplainable fatigue of soul that weighs me down over time. As I let this go, as I trust in Christ, there is a new energy, a new excitement, a new joy that wells up as my soul not only rests, but finds life in Christ. This is expressed in verse 30 when he says, "My burden is light." And this has, to me, significance in two different ways. The weight is taken away, His power working within me, but also there is light in terms of light and dark, because Christ is light. God is light, as we know. And this is what's expressed in John chapter 1. It says, "In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was in the beginning with God. All things came into being through him, and apart from him, nothing came into being that has come into being." And then we get to the light part again. "In him was life, and the life was the light of men." This is what is required, that I trust Christ with everything. And the more I transfer from my responsibility to his, that I entrust to him, that I cast upon him, the more blessing I receive, the more light I receive, the more weight I transfer that I have taken off of my soul for refreshment and rest and is given to him. And the more he blesses that with abundance in return for anything that I entrust to him. So he's constantly calling us and encouraging us to give to him, to let go of everything that we have. As I look back on my life, the things that I held on to were the things that weighed me down. The things that I give to him are blessed. He blesses with abundance. He blesses with taking the weight off, of granting life and light within our souls. It happens at such a deep level within my soul that the echo of God's love and Christ's care for me reverberates through the rest of my life and day. This is that light shining from within us that we only receive when we truly trust Christ and let go of everything that we have, our life, and then practice that on a daily basis, trusting everything we have and giving it to him. So let's continue to let go of what we have and trusting it to him who is able to bear our burden and bless us as he travels right next to us, sharing our burdens with us. Take care.